Good evening. Thank you all for coming here, and thank you, Feroz, for inviting and organizing this program. Adani's story is too long. If we start to go one by one, we can speak on weeks. We can speak for weeks on this subject, because the kind of businesses and the number of businesses and the number of companies in this group is too enormous that it's very difficult to cover the entire story in a few hours. So before starting with anything, I'll start by saying that Paranjota just said that I have a bailable warrant. I'll start with that. One fine evening, a couple of policemen walked into my house. I never had such an experience, policemen coming into my house. So I thought, what happened? He said, there's an arrest warrant. I said, what? That arrest warrant. From where? So I said, I would like to see it. And first he refused. And then he showed me this arrest warrant. It was from a local court, Mansa Taluka court in Gandhinagar district in Gujarat. I didn't know what was my crime, because if a summons is sent, that summons should. Summons from the court. Yeah, I mean actually I should have got a summons from the court. First, they'll send a summons 1, 2, 3. If I am not appearing in the court, then they'll issue a warrant. First bailable warrant, then a non-bailable warrant. Here I never got any summons. So anyhow, I spoke to the lawyers and took a bail. Then we started to, we tried to find out what is it all about. Adani Group filed a case against me in 2021 August for defamation in Mansa Court. Court kept sending summons to an address where I used to live once upon a time, and I never received it. So what is this defamation? What is for what? They didn't find any articles of mine as defamatory. So what they could do is they collated a series of tweets which I had tweeted at different point of time, taking points from different articles. Few of them are my articles. There were other articles like from The Guardian, The Hindu, Indian Express, Sydney Morning Herald, many international publications like that. Then when we got the actual petition, I searched myself, what is it? Then, okay, how this is defamatory? Then let me find out. Then I found most of these tweets are quotes and unquotes. One quote I tweeted exactly, quoted from the Hindu article and tweeted it with the link to the article. So what Hindu wrote in that article is not defamatory, but when Ravi Nair tweeted it, that became defamatory to Adani. So that is the case against me. Next, let us speak on the government's support to this particular group. As in an interview, he just said, Paranjota just said, that Adani said, mehnat, mehnat, mehnat. Let me tell you, this is not Adani's mehnat. This is Modi's mehnat. That's a fact. Because he worked so hard to develop this group. We have hundreds of examples like that. Let me tell you one example within India. He explained about the Godda power project. So this Godda power project, the initial talk started in 2015 when Modi, Prime Minister Modi went to Bangladesh for the first time in his official capacity as Prime Minister of India. He wanted to increase the economic cooperation between India and Bangladesh. So few MOUs signed. And that 2 MOUs were for 2 power projects. So initially it was like 2 Indian companies will invest $5.5 billion in Bangladesh, and they will build the power stations there, thermal power stations or gas-fired power stations there, and produce electricity for Bangladesh. And one MOU was signed by Chotabhai Ambani, it's Reliance Power, and the other one was Adani Power. 3 months down the line, Adani Power's MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, changed out of the blue, and a new MOU signed. This time, the MOU said that Adani will build a power station at a suitable place in India and will export the entire power generated there to Bangladesh. This is the first time it is happening. It never happened in India because as per the rules, only those companies which are generating surplus power, because if they don't have a PPA, power purchase agreement, with any of the utilities, and or beyond the limit of the PPA, whatever they have signed for the PPA, if it is 100 megawatts and they are producing 10 megawatts, they can export 10 megawatts. That is how it works. But a new power station altogether to export power to Bangladesh. So is India power surplus? No. Still we have power cuts. In rural India, still we have power cuts. Farmers are getting electricity for only few hours for agricultural use in many places. In 2016, Adani applied to the Raghubar Das government, the then BJP government of Jharkhand, that they need some 2,000 acres of land for this power project. The government told Adani Group that they can organize 917 acres of land in Godda, Jharkhand. So the land acquisition for this particular project was very violent. Like land छीन लिया गया farmers से. They didn't want to vacate their land because the compensation was very minimal. And they didn't want to, these are ancestors, I mean, a lot of tribals, farmers, local farmers, most of them were tribal. They didn't want to leave and vacate their land, but they were forced to. The government used power, Adani's people used force, many people were jailed, frivolous court cases filed upon them. The activists who were fighting for these farmers and tribals were put in jail for months. And after this, when the land handed over to Adani, the Jharkhand government changed a law. The law was this, that any power project which is based in Jharkhand and selling power outside the state should sell mandatorily 25% of the total production to Jharkhand itself. For Adani's project, this was changed. When we tried to find out, it's in public domain now, it was told that pressure ऊपर से आया था. ऊपर से बोला गया that this should be changed. In 2017, November 2017, Adani Power Limited signed the power purchase agreement with Bangladesh government. In the tariff section, of the power tariff section of the agreement, it said in detail that there are a lot of things took into assumptions to calculate the tariff because the plant is not there. So they assumed that this will, they took a base price for the coal, and these are the taxes, and these are the interest charges, and they calculated the power tariff. And remember the date, this was signed on 11th November 2017. When we saw the PPA, it clearly stated, the PPA clearly stated, the power tariff, the calculation, the assumption, they have assumed that in that assumption, they have accounted VAT, central excise, customs duty, service charges, service taxes, all the cess, levies, everything. Now there's a problem here. The PPA was signed on 11th November 2017. But on July 1st, 2017, the government changed the tax regime to GST. So there is no VAT. A lot of local taxes were merged into, and the tax slabs and the tax regime entirely changed. But the PPA still says it is local taxes and VAT. And Bangladesh government was not aware of this. As per the agreement, as per the terms in PPA, any change in the assumption, the Adani Power is liable to inform that in writing within 10 days to the Bangladesh government and Bangladesh Power Development Board, which didn't happen. That's one part of it. In 2019, prior to the announcement to the general election in February, election announcement happened in March. So on 25th February, out of the blue, the Modi government declared that this particular power project is an SEZ, a special economic zone. It never happened like this in India. And in 2016, the same Modi government came out with a rule stating that no standalone power station should be declared or given the status of an SEZ, a special economic zone. He explained already that, Paranjoda explained that the special economic zones have different tax law. It's actually a country within a country. So, SEZ thing, what it changed was that Adani doesn't have to pay a single penny in taxes to import the power equipment for the plant and any machinery. No tax at all, no import duty, nothing, no customs duty, nothing at all. And in SEZ, if you are starting a new business, you don't have to pay income tax for 5 years. And for the next 5 years, you have to pay only 50%. And from 10th year to 15th year, if you are applying back from your profit, so you get a 50% benefit. And the PPA already states that Adani doesn't have to pay any tax in Bangladesh. So that means the government forcefully taken the land from farmers and tribes, tortured them, paid very minimal compensation in violation of laws, given that to Adani. Adani is building a coal-powered thermal power station which will draw water from river Ganga, will create enormous pollution there, will sell the electricity to Bangladesh at 3 times the rate what others are giving to, even NTPC is giving to, selling power to Bangladesh, and won't pay any tax. मेहनत है ना? सोचो किसका मेहनत है? Now, when I said that they will draw water heavily from Ganga, there's a small story behind that also. When Adani submitted the application for environmental clearance for this particular project, it was mentioned that the water will be drawn from a river called Chiru. It's a small river in Jharkhand. And they will make a canal or a pipeline of around 6 kilometers, 6-7 kilometers to the plant area to draw the water. Nobody knows what's the reason this changed. Adani submitted a new proposal to the Environmental Ministry that they will be drawing water from river Ganga. So the environmentalists and the people who have knowledge about the subject said that this will create a lot of problem downstream, and this might endanger the lives of the Gangetic dolphins. Ganga is 93 kilometers away from the plant. And for this pipeline, another set of land acquisition happened. The story is same there. The story is same there. Some people, some activists, filed a case on this, questioning this decision to the regional bench of National Green Tribunal in Kolkata. They said that, and that's the rule, that if anything changes in a submitted proposal for the environmental clearance, any change happened to it, a new study should be conducted and a completely new proposal should be submitted. That didn't happen. Here only one part was amended and said that we will be drawing water, not from Chiru, but from Ganga. That's the only change they did. And they didn't do a new study, they didn't submit a new study report. How it is going to affect the environment and ecology. They didn't do that. The bench dismissed the petition. The first was a technical ground. They said, you should have submitted this petition within 30 days of Adani giving that application. Actually, everyone came to know about that much later, months later. That was one technical ground. Second, the order says, and order questions the activist who filed the petition, what is your locus standi? You stay in Delhi, and what is your locus standi to file a petition for Jharkhand? That's where we are. Now, let us go to another Mehnat story. This time we will go to Sri Lanka. In 2020-21, the Sri Lankan, the employees unions of Colombo Port. Colombo Port is a major port. It's a very big port. It's seventh largest or seventh busiest port in the world, because a lot of transshipment containers go there. It's a deep port. The employees started a protest and they halted the operations, completely halted the operations of the port and its terminals for 3 days. The reason was that the then Rajapaksa government decided to give one terminal, which was almost 37% already constructed, to the Adani Group. So why Adani Group? That was the question. And we started the investigation there. We interviewed a lot of people, including the Minister of Port and the Chairman of Port Authority. They told us on record that the Narendra Modi government forced the Sri Lankan government to give this port terminal, that is Eastern Container Terminal, to the Adani Group. And somebody told me on my face when I spoke to him, Adani must be a god for you, not for us, and we don't care. We will not let this go to Adani. So, okay, everyone said this on record that the Indian government forced. But still we can't go ahead, we need something, some solid proof, because the people who said, they said, I recorded, they can backtrack anytime. They said that, okay, I said this, but he misrepresented it, anything can. Luckily, we got an access to a cabinet memorandum, not one, two, cabinet memorandum, submitted by the Minister of Port to the Sri Lankan cabinet for the approval of this project. And it clearly stated, as per the recommendation of Government of India, to give this terminal to the Adani Group. Dash, dash, dash. That was enough. Mehnat number 2. Right? Let us come back to the Hindenburg Report here. See, if we look into all the projects, it will be very big. It's too long. Paranjoy missed few points, like when Adani's business. In last couple of years, Adani tried to venture into copper smelting plant in Mundra. He already got the approval from the Environment Ministry that whatever the pollution, that's okay, fine. That's one. Second, an aluminium mine and refinery in Orissa. Then third, a coal gasification project. A coal gasification means the coal is the basic fuel, and it's a tedious process and a very polluting project. They will use coal to make PVC and polyester. Now decided that after this Hindenburg report came, when the capital expenditure was reworked by the group, they put a hold, they decided to hold the coal to gasification project for the time being. Let us speak about the airports, Mehnat. In 2019, July, the PMO decided, not Civil Aviation Ministry, the PMO decided to privatize 6 airports, which was then under the Airport Authority of India. If we go through the annual reports and the financials of Airport Authority of India, that is AAI, these 6 airports were making the maximum profits other than major airports, that is Delhi and Mumbai, where Airport Authority of India has 26 and 36% stake each. So people thought, okay, Airport Authority of India will have a stake. It's a public-private partnership project. Then PMO decided to form a group of secretaries to take this project forward. The group of secretaries first met on December 10th. Second time met, this is in 2018. Second time met on December 12th, and 14th they floated a tender. So this discussion happened in PPPAC, that is Public-Private Partnership Accounting Committee. A long discussion happened amongst the secretaries and Niti Aayog. We got the minutes of the meeting, the original minutes of the meeting, and when we went through, we were shocked. The terms were set in such a way that Adani should fit in, and all airports should go to Adani. Like the Finance Ministry, the Secretary of Finance, Joint Secretary of Finance Ministry, who was part of the committee, he pointed out in discussion that in the long run, Airport Authority of India will not benefit from this, because all the airports given till now privatized, where Airport Authority of India has a stake in that. Here you are saying per passenger fee is the only criteria. The new operator, whoever will win the bid, they will pay only per passenger fee, a certain amount for every passenger who is using the airport. And the developer will have the right to develop the entire land of the Airport Authority of India. If the lands are less, more should be acquired by the government and give to this person or this entity. And that person, that entity will keep the airport after the entity developing it for 50 years. Till now, all the airports like Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi were given on 30-year lease. These 6 airports will go on a 50-year lease. Now, more bizarre thing, that after 50 years, if the developer have to give this back to Airport Authority of India, Airport Authority of India have to pay a a certain amount. That is the depreciated value of the buildings and the assets. The entity which is operating this has been created. When these issues were pointed out by the Ministry of Finance and Niti Aayog, the others already said that the group of ministers already discussed this, the group of secretaries already discussed this, and it was their decision mentioned here, overruled. And the same thing, next. This particular secretary of Finance Ministry, he said, and Niti Aayog supported, Niti Aayog sent a detailed report on this, saying that all 6 airports should not go to one entity. That will create problem later, because if the entity which is managing this airport, if it fails financially, it will affect not 1 but 6 airports. So let us not do this. Overruled. No. If one person is capable of handling 6 airports, it will go to him. Next. Only those who have experience in developing an airport, developing, managing and operating an airport, should participate in the bid. If the entity who is participating or decided to participate in the bid doesn't have any experience, they can tie up with some other companies, international companies or Indian companies, who have enough experience in development and operation and management of airports. Overruled? No. December 14th, bid document came out. A week later, a month later, the bidders met. 25th Feb 2019, tenders opened. Adani won. All 6 airports. Magic. Out of the blue, overnight, he became the largest private airport operator in India. And how Mumbai airport went to him, that everyone knows. Almost everyone knows that. One anonymous whistleblower wrote a letter to Finance Ministry saying that GVK Group is misusing funds which is meant for the development of MIAL, Mumbai International Airport Limited. So Mumbai International Airport Limited is a consortium of 3 companies. One is, of course, GVK, which had 51% stake. The rest are with the 2 South African companies. One is actually from South Africa, and another is that company's subsidiary from Mauritius, Bidvest. In 2019, after Adani won the bid for 6 airports, Adani approached one of this minority stakeholder, Bidvest, and told them that we are interested to take your stake in MEAL if you are ready to sell it. The guys were ready. But in the initial agreement which was signed in 2006, there was a clause. The majority stakeholder holds the right, the first right to buy the stake if a minority stakeholder is selling it. So the arbitration started, case went to court, Mumbai High Court, then Delhi High Court, 2 different cases, and it reached Supreme Court. Arbitration went on. Out of the blue, Ministry of Finance जाग गया. एक whistleblower का letter आया था. Let us investigate. Income tax, AD, CBI, they filed cases against GVA and started investigation. SFI also.
Serious fraud investigation of this.
They filed cases. They raided the houses of GVK promoters, the Reddys, couple of months down the line. Now it is Adani Mumbai Airport Limited. Mehnat. Right? I can give you enough examples like this. I don't want to take much time because I think. Oh, okay. Hindenburg Report says a lot about Adani's offshore entities and the offshore transactions of Adani Group companies, how money is coming, FDIs especially is coming into that. That's a very long topic, a long subject. So if we speak on that, I'll take hours. Instead of that, I'll tell you a small, this is also not a small story, but still I'll try to finish it in 5-10 minutes. Foreign portfolio investors and foreign institutional investors, that is FPIs and FIIs, invest money in Indian share market. It's not only in Indian, everywhere. They keep investing in equity, buying stakes of these companies, not buying actually, they invest in these companies. When the share prices, if the company's fundamentals are good and it's earning enough profit, dividends are giving, and and if they feel that the share price of these companies will go up, they'll sell it and they'll invest somewhere else. So it's a kind of cycle. In 2020, we found out that there are few FPIs, and before going there, FPIs never invest in one company or one group because that is, they can't hatch all the eggs in one basket. It's very tricky. Suppose if that company collapses or something happens, they lose money because the portfolio managers who handle these funds or the investment managers, they manage people's fund. People give the money, invest the money, so they are responsible to the investors. They earn the profit, share the profit, and take a cut for themselves, for this investment funds. That's how they work. They pool in money. So we found out quite few FPIs based out of Mauritius and some of them in Cyprus and in Singapore and Hong Kong. They keep investing in India and only in Adani Group companies. So when we checked, we found out there is one entity called Albula Investment Fund. It kept 98.7% of its total investment in Adani Group companies. That's not possible. In normal circumstances, that's not possible. So we tried to find out more. We did an investigation and we found out 6 of them share the same address, office address. They have the same phone, 4 of them have the same phone number and fax number. And one company, these are actually managed by companies like, I don't know how to explain it. How do you explain these companies like Mossack Fonseca, like kind of companies? How do you explain them?
Yes, companies set up by auditors and lawyers.
Yes, yeah. These are actually, these are not shell companies. These are actually registered companies set up by lawyers and chartered accountants and professionals, banking professionals who are not working in the banking industry, but they help people to set up fictitious entities in tax havens and route the money without coming into the light of law. To expert is sitting here, so I could have asked him. So, yeah. No, they are registered. So they help to set up fictitious companies. That's what I said. So these companies, most of them, all of them, except one, have their money, more than 95% of their investment in Adani Group, and one had around 92%. Mauritius is very notorious. When we can't find out anything about the companies over there. We won't get their financials, balance sheet. We don't know even who are the directors and who are the actual owners behind it. So what we try to do is we used a method which nobody used before. That's called legal entity identification, LAI. In LAI, if you are lucky, you can find out the parent organization and sister concerns. If you are lucky, if they have given it. We tried our luck, and it was there. 6 companies were related to one entity through a chain of entities, and the parent entity is registered in Mauritius, which is called Monte Rosa Investment Holdings, Monte Rosa International Holdings Limited, MIH Limited. We published it in July 2021. That's the same thing you can read in Hindenburg Report now. All the details what we published is there. And this company, this Monte Rosa, when we tried to find out more, we found out that this Monte Rosa has connections with few Indian fugitives. Sandesharas of Gujarat, who are in Kenya or Nigeria, I think, said to be in Nigeria, who did taken up loan from the banks and just vanished, just like many others. One is this. Second, Jatin Mehta, that is Vinod Adani's daughter's father-in-law, another fugitive. SEBI said in 2021, after these reports were published, TMC parliamentarian Mahua Moitra raised these issues in Parliament. So the then MOS Finance, Minister of State for Finance, told the Parliament that SEBI is investigating about these companies. And once the investigation is complete, we will share the report. Now, after 1.5 years, we don't know what happened to that investigation. Where is the report? Now the government is saying, SEBI will investigate. So what happened to the previous investigation? Where is the report? Now in between, after last September, between September and October, within time of four weeks, it was published widely in newspapers, business newspapers. Gautam Bhai went to the SEBI headquarters. Normally this business tycoons, if their companies are listed, they never go to SEBI. I don't remember. Do you think when listed companies, promoters, do they visit SEBI and meet the chairman often? It is called for an investigation. Right. So here, the Mehnatwala Gautam Pai went to SEBI headquarters, met the directors and held a discussion with the chairperson of SEBI, not once, but twice, within the span of 4 weeks. Now, if SEBI is investigating the fictitious financial dealings of Adani Group companies, how can the SEBI chairperson and board of directors meet Mr. Gautam Adani? And then now the government is saying that SEBI is investigating. Even today's Supreme Court order says that SEBI will investigate. So what happened to the previous investigation? Where are the reports? What is the outcome? I would like to stop it here because we can go on with examples for so long. There are China connections, a lot of things, but I don't want to touch upon there because. So, thank you so much for giving me the time.